and welcome back to Cloveriness. My name is Michelle and I'm here today to do my September book haul. I'm really sorry that I've been absent from BookTube lately, but I really needed a bit of a break to recharge my batteries and get enthusiastic again about filming and editing and things. But here we go! In the month of September, I had 12 new books either sent for review and one that I bought myself, and here they are. First up, I got The Shadow's Curse by Amy McCulloch. This is the sequel to The Oathbreaker's Shadow, a fantasy novel that I'm really looking forward to. I quite like this really colourful cover and I'm really hoping to read this book soon, especially as I've been hearing really wonderful things about the first book in the series. The next book was a pretty big surprise, and I'm afraid I really haven't looked into it very much, but it's this, and it came really beautifully wrapped. It's Opal Plumstead by Jacqueline Wilson, which is apparently her 100th book. How impressive is that? And I love how much effort was put into making this proof a very beautiful copy. I also received 3 books from O'Brien. The first is a book for children in the Milo Adventure series called Milo and the Pirate Sisters. It says on the press release that it's for 8+, so I'm going to hand that one over to the boys and see what they make of it. I also received Rebecca is Always Right by Anna Carey. I thought this from the cover and everything, it looked more like a middle grade book, but apparently it says 12+. I don't know very much about it, but it looks like quite a sweet little book with this dog on the front cover. And in particular, I'm quite excited about this third book called A Crack in Everything by Ruth Frances Long. It's set in Dublin, which makes me quite excited, and it sounds kind of like a paranormal romance book, sort of, but set in Ireland, and that makes me quite excited. So thank you very much, O'Brien, for those 3 books. 2 adult romance books this month. The first was Echoes of Scotland Street by Samantha Young. This is in her On Dublin Street sort of series, focusing on one of my favourite characters, Cole, and I loved this book. I really, really did. I thought it was a wonderful addition to the series, and honestly I love how like the layers of relationships and friendships and everything that goes on in this series of books. And I was also sent Hard Time by Cara McKenna. Now, I don't read a lot of adult romances, but you know, I kind of like them, and I'm going to definitely keep reading them, especially if they're anything like these 2 books, because I really, really enjoyed Hard Time. It was the story about a librarian who's sent into a prison to help literacy rates, and she meets this prisoner there, and they have this like immediate attraction to each other, and they start writing each other love letters, and it kind of like walks this like line between, you know, fantasy and reality, and all of that like comes to like a major head when he is released from prison and they have to sort of work at this relationship that they have going, and it was incredibly sweet and romantic and I loved it. I also received Misty Falls by Joss Sterling. This is another book in her Savant series and I loved it. I really, really love Joss Sterling's books. This does cover, you know, the Benedict brothers are very present in this book, but they aren't the main focus. But it was still really wonderful, and of course it's always nice to catch up with the Benedict brothers and see how they were getting on. I love this really shiny cover here. I will always be excited to read more books by Joss Sterling. I really will. I also received a paperback copy of The Edge of the Water by Elizabeth George. Elizabeth George primarily writes for adults, but she's started this young adult series. This is the sequel. The first book was called The Edge of Nowhere, I believe. Yeah, The Edge of Nowhere, and I really, really loved The Edge of Nowhere, and I've been looking forward to reading this sequel, so thank you very much, Hodder, for that. Now this next book is quite exciting as well. I really love this cover of this badass looking female with tattoos, and she's obviously a boxer. It's called Shadow Boxer by Tricia Sullivan, and Ravenstone sent this to me, about a girl who is a boxer, and she runs off to Thailand because she's facing some problems, and she meets some really interesting things in Thailand, and it just sounded really, really good, and I'm very interested in getting started with this one. I also bought a copy of Out of Control by Sarah Alderson. Sarah Alderson is a favourite author of mine, and I will buy every single one of her books, especially if Simon & Schuster continue, I don't know if you can see that, to include my quotes on the back of all of her books. Now I think the last 3 books that Sarah Alderson has published is included that same quote that's on the back cover of her books. So I will of course always buy them, and I've already read this one and I loved it. I love how hot the guys are in Sarah's books, but also how really fast-paced and exciting everything is. It's really very good, and I'm so glad that I did find a copy of that one. I really did think that was going to be the last book that I would show you, and then this gorgeous book arrived. It's called My True Love Gave to Me, and you can see it's got this gorgeous glossy cover with these beautiful pink edged pages and a gold little like bookmark ribbon. It's so pretty. Anyway, it's look at the inside cover. It's such a gorgeous book. It's 12 winter romances written by loads of great authors: Holly Black, Gail Forman, Jenny Han, and it's edited by Stephanie Perkins. I wasn't sure about this book at first. I'm not a huge fan of short stories in general, but as soon as this book arrived in all of its prettiness, I was like, I completely changed my mind about it. I kind of can't wait until more Christmassy time for me to dive into this story and see what it's gonna be like. It's just so pretty, look at it! Even though I really didn't want to be reminded that it's gonna be Christmas soon, but I think it was probably worth it to receive that book. So those are the books that I received and bought and, well, partially read this previous month. I'd love to hear what you think about these books. If you have any advice about where I should start, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.